Baldur's Gate 3's Slayer form is easily the most badass looking creature a player can become. However, nearly all of its moves are bugged. You get no bonuses from gear, and you can only have one in your party. It's pretty much a perfect storm for weird challenge run jank. Can you beat Baldur's Gate 3 as a Slayer? The Dark Urge Origin is the only one who can unlock Slayer form, so after creating Gorestash here, it's time for a surprise. This run will be attempted without any mod to make me into a Slayer, which means my goal is to complete the Nautiloid and unlock Slayer form without using any actions if possible. For these imps, Gorestash just casually walks away, leaving Lae'zel to die until reaching a nearby brain cat. It joins the battle, taking care of the killing. Lae'zel's revived via pod just in time for the Helm confrontation. Attempts 1 and 2 resulted in game overs, but on the third try, our mustache man survives with 3 HP. The tutorial's complete, and on the beach, a new problem arises. For the unaware, Slayer form is not unlockable in Act 1 either. To progress further, we're gonna need to somehow get past these intellect devourers without using any actions. Thankfully, with the help of Shadowheart's dead body, there is a solution. After pulling off her best Scott impression, I stuffed her body into a burning barrel to execute a speedrunner trick, shadowboxing. By dragging the flaming barrel to a very specific pixel, you can see the message change from not enough space to target is blocked. That text means you can then fling the barrel at warp speeds upon click dragging the character portrait on the left. This is extremely precise. When done incorrectly, the barrel may be flung to Grimforge, or a fake Nautiloid, or a nearby mountain. But when done correctly, the barrel will land on this mountainside, burn after exiting turn-based mode, and release Shadowheart at the artifact cutscene trigger, reviving her in preparation for the handsome Gortash cutscene. The game then forces you to camp, and upon exiting, she is at the mountain pass entrance. The unexplored map gave me a little chuckle, and after killing Alfira, who showed up just as confused as I, we arrive in the mountain pass, still level 1. We're not home free yet though, as these mountain zombies block our mustached path to Slayer world domination. Getting past them will require some coin, Gorestash and the hard-gathered oranges, rotting mushrooms, and other random trash from the wild, to exchange for an invisibility potion from Lady Esther. To follow my own stupid rules, I constructed a box ladder, placing the potion on top. Shadowheart pulling the boxes out from underneath is an actionless move, letting gravity handle the damage of said potion for Gorestash to slurp it off the dirty disease-ridden ground. I hit that skelly with an invisible disco before swinging on by, fully ignoring these warning messages that entering Act 2 will be bitterly difficult, cause reading's for nerds. Traversing the Shadow Curse is handled by Shadowheart. Her passive immunity made this part a breeze, with the only difficulty check being hiding from the caravan on the path to Last Light Inn. She smooth talks her way inside, don't ask where she pulled that artifact out of, and with the help of Marcus she's arrived at her destination. There are multiple ways of obtaining Slayer form, the earliest of which requires the death of Isabel. Funny thing about Isabel is when you want her to live, she dies instantly, and turns out when you're praying for Marcus to smash in her brains, he'll do anything possible to avoid that reality. Eventually she wound up cornered, and the cleric was non-lethally targeted to be kidnapped by Marcus. Last Light Inn falls without my party lifting a finger. Then too does Shadowheart. Kind of annoying that this does not count as killing Isabel to complete the quest and unlock Slayer form, but it does allow for the next step. Returning to the mountain pass revives Shadowheart, because game mechanics, and after a long rest, our butler Scaleratus arrives in camp. Initially to scold us for failing to kill Isabel, but next to offer a deal. Our closest friend Shadowheart's life in exchange for a dark gift. If the woman we spoke 2 sentences with burned her alive, stuffed the corpse into a box, and forced her to commit war crimes upon innocents at Last Light Inn was our closest friend, that is a sad reality. She is stabbed in her sleep. A lesson to all the ladies out there. Never trust a man with a curly mustache. He could be a serial killer, or worse, The next night, Slayer form is obtained without a single action being used, and at just level 3. Probably triggered about 10% of people by unlocking it in this convoluted manner, but I'm confident you other 90% are cooler anyways. You get me. Thank you. With this, we can finally start the real challenge. I'll quickly cover the rules. Whenever I am outside of camp, I must remain in Slayer form. If I am knocked out of Slayer form, I must reload the save. And that's really about all there is to it. First things first, we're going back to Act 1. For years I've yearned to know the feeling of being a 98 HP Slayer hunting lobies like a twinked rogue in Warsong Gulch. Can confirm, it feels good. These goblins were shitting their pants at the sight of me. After shredding them in seconds, I backtracked along the path towards the grove, encountering Eredin and deciding he will be a good chance to explain my Slayer actions. The base Slayer has 5 unique actions. Multi-attack, which attacks one guy multily. Relentless Lunge, which knocked nearby enemies prone at a jump location while dealing area damage. Slay is your auto attack, which always crits on prone targets and combos on bleeding targets to apply a poison. Let the Slaughter Begin, which says it increases your armor while lowering others, but it's bugged and 90% of the time does nothing. And finally, Sumptuous Bloodbath, which makes a target bleed while healing yourself over 3 turns. Overall, it's a pretty robust toolkit. After absolutely poning these noobs, I discovered I can use the bleed self-heal attack on suitcases or other inanimate objects, despite the lore being you are using their blood to heal your wounds. Our next stop is the Druid Grove, which has been forever sealed by a plant wall to block outside invasion. I'm no orthodontist, but as I know, walls couldn't stop the Mongols. They don't stop the Mexicans, and this one sure as hell won't stop me. I'll be back with supplies later. Nearby I found a shovel. In case you wondered, digging is possible. Yeah, that's right. The devs allow Slayer form to dig, but not badgers. That's some nice game logic. Deleting the local brain cats and ambushing some nearby grave robbers has got me all kinds of excited for the rest of Act 1. But locked unbreakable doors are an obstacle I may not so easily overcome. Breakable doors though, very fun. Probably safe to say this model wasn't tested very much in Act 1, as this is a new bug I've never seen. The Toll House was my go-to place for procuring the boxes necessary to obtain entry into the Grove, though construction with boxes didn't quite go to plan. Turns out when you're a giant fat-ass monster with a big model, trying to construct a flimsy tower out of boxes is a much more difficult process. It crumbled beneath the weight of my 400-kilogram frame, and like that the quest for new boxes began. On the way to Joaquin's Rest, these hyenas did not attack me, which is different. Nor did Salazan. While he normally cowers before the tiniest of gnomes, the Slayer form had him growing balls of steel. The rest of the Zenturium gave similar levels of concern to his, only watching as I leapt over their gate. They did question how I got in here, but were then surprised when the big bad monster ripped off their faces. Victory here yielded many more boxes from the basement. As usual, Oscar gave no thanks for being saved, a slight I will remember when the time comes. Returning to the Grove, Tower 2 is constructed. The Druid's Ritual blocked entry once more. A construction handicap was never something I'd considered when starting this, but I do find it pretty hilarious. Eventually I settled on using the pay-to-win Digital Deluxe Featherfall Potion and survived the dive into the Grove. This badass Goomba Stomp move I pulled off here is all the proof needed. These druids are complete idiots. Like, let's be real, how is a stupid plant wall gonna protect them anyways? Deeper inside, Kaga's engaged, and the fact she is kicking my ass and forcing me to run with my tail between my legs is not a good sign of things to come. She did eventually face execution, but with her being a struggle, it's a good time to remind you all that Slayer form does not scale with levels until 10. Power in other ways will need to be found in this journey, hopefully. While trying to sleep in dead Kaga's bed, I noticed the Slayer form has no sleep animations. Weird when you consider nearly every druid form does, and even the unplayable pig has them. At least they make up for it a bit by having one of the cooler sneak animations. An Overgrown Well was the first cutscene Slayer form persisted through. It may not be the buggy action I know and love, but rest assured, I'll find them later. As the Grove fell much too quickly for science to get done, some goblins were volunteered for combat trials. One early discovery is the Monk bonus action attack passive appears to function. It has no animations, showcasing further how untested and buggy Slayer is, but weird jank like this will work in my favor. Did some quick testing with Withers, hoping to find other working abilities. For example, the Death Domain Cleric's Channel Divinity works. The Barbarian's No Armor passive does not work, but the Fighter passive for wearing armor that doesn't exist does work. Gotta love that you can't predict anything about this abomination of programming. When I get more levels, I'll try more random stuff, but as this hyena got me to level 4, I settled on purely Monk for now, as the extra movement bonus passive is functioning along with Tavern Brawler. At least, kind of. That of course is bugged too, adding no damage to my attacks, only the 25% hit chance. More experience for continued unpaid QA testing is more valuable than I'd thought. To that end, goblins are next on the canonically appropriate murder hobo chopping block. Except this one goblin who vanished out of existence after a non-damage move. Smart choice, brother. Smart choice. Volo deciding to join a murderous monster's camp without any introductions was certainly in character. The dude's got the survival instincts of a dodo. Being an unstoppable killing machine was fun while short-lasted, but I've quickly had to adapt my strategy to that of killing 1 or 2 enemies before running to the nearest exit. Still kind of a fun playstyle. Funny enough, Smith in here turned green to join me after his rescue, only to get immediately no-scope headshotted. And on Draw Raglan, I did this badass dive from the rafters. an instant regret, as I have not saved in over 4 hours. Kinda screwed myself by saving here now without actions, health, or movement speed, but like any of you would, I decided to see if saving and reloading could recover the disaster, only to discover yet another ridiculous bug. After the reload, I have 3 meters of movement. Had I just forgotten to spend it? No, as another reload restored a further 3. Infinite movement speed through saving and reloading as a Slayer is a mechanic. Is it my elf racial? The monk passive? A gift from God? No clue, but it did save me 4 hours before I retired the tech, and I am man enough to admit it. Minthara being here after I've already visited Act 2 was a neat surprise. Could have sworn that's not how the game works. Following the story in a nonsensical order has been a treat. In the Underdark, the Myconids were the first people to converse with my Slayer body. An encounter I expected may work, as they did offer quests to a cat in a past life. Unlike as a cat though, Sovereign Spa was a rude jerk who ignored me, like I do all of life's responsibilities. And moments later, Balin literally chose to run into an explosive death trap rather than accept aid from a friendly neighborhood Slayer man. It's looking more and more likely that no one will be the friend of a lonely Slayer who enjoys long walks on the beach and gathering mushrooms. When the Kuatoa cutscene wrote me in, I was confident I'd found my people. Would these freaky fishmen be my one true chance at companionship? No, as they too attacked me before any dialogue options appeared. Out of spite, I killed their false god plus every member of their elitist boys club, failed in my attempt to steal a boat, and learned I can read. Clearly the necromancy at Day was not intended to show up like this, but it amused me nonetheless. Returning to the mountain pass, I have false hopes that perhaps the Gith will treat me better. For being the most racist people on the planet, I appreciated them at least asking me to leave before they tried to kill me. It's a better offer than most have given. The Crush's Kithrak spamming fear on me was really annoying. Getting to relive the TBC arena match experience of my youth all over again. If you know, you know. The feeling of combat being balanced is long gone, and I have become a cowardly stealth slayer. One cool bonus is if you ever get your disease on someone then have to run away, they'll still be vulnerable to all damage the next time you come back. 78 damage criticals are pretty nasty for level 5. Also nasty, this shirt. I was using it to heal myself. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. The shirt is both diseased and bleeding. Pause the challenge momentarily to transmog my gear with the effect, giving it some bloody ballast aura. Slayer is the jank nightmare gift that keeps on giving. Back up the road, the earlier met zombies absolutely curb stomped me, like no one else before. Multiple times over. Probably revenge for the sick dance moves I'd served up earlier. Their melee attacks paralyzing you is fun. So much fun. I'll never admit how long it took me to remember they can't jump. I can, and Relentless Lunge outranges them because it's bugged. At this point, should I just stop saying that? Because like everything is actually broken. Lunge has a way larger hit radius than the target indicator shows. So against some melee only enemies like this, you can jump back and forth while bleeding out a shirt to self-heal. How are these sentences real? With that little 58-minute roadblock clear, we're back into Act 2. A nice bonus of Shadowheart's earlier shenanigans is I get to keep Isabel's blessing. So using it, I hit and run farmed the undead Harpers. The useless little shits stood no chance, and as during their slaughter I reached level 6. Moments later, landed this seriously satisfying bird stomp, then regrouped with the Drider caravan. They don't like me, I don't like them. Took about 15 attempts of waiting for the perfect engagement on Karnus, but I have got all the time in the world. I'm a YouTuber, with no wife, no kids, and no friends. Spider Bro has no idea just how screwed he really is. Once dead, the Moon Lantern is dragged along the floor to Moonrise Towers, as despite having 4 hands, none of these can be used for grip. I'm quite curious as to how the Absolutists will react to my entry. The answer? Indifference. I am a ghost to them, and even stealing Kethric's throne without any sit animation sparks no reaction. By the way, photo mode does have a sit animation, so Larian did make one. I think they just forgot to attach it. Just when I thought nothing of interest was gonna happen here, the weirdest cutscene bug I've seen in ages occurred. This guard chased me down to accuse me of theft. Already kinda strange. Yet stranger, I had full camera control during the cutscene. My attempts at bribery failed, and because I'm too much of a princess to go to jail, I fought for freedom. No one can say that Zealot didn't do his job. The rest of Moonrise is metagamed in the usual way. Illithid parasites are not dropping, despite the Dream Visitor repeatedly telling me they are. Probably another Slayer bug. Not long after, randomly while on the 2nd floor, Kethric decided to pull me out of Slayer form from downstairs to start a brawl for seemingly no reason at all. Minthara choosing to side with me was objectively an idiot move on her part, but not for I, as the cultist slaughter continued. Like the Kool-Aid man, I broke Wilburn out of jail, helping him to release the boat. Without a word being spoken, we sailed sailed into the sunset. Wulbren may be a racist asshole who hates everyone, but he appears to be the only man in this world capable of befriending a Slayer. That is the first official quest I have completed as a Slayer, and it's back to juggling Moon Lantern hell. A shadow creature got me to level 7, then I decided to fight Malice Thorm. It was stupid. The nurses jumped for joy, glitched through the floor onto an elevator with me, and I spent far too long spamming jumps on this guy who is resistant to every single one of my attacks. The jumps missing about 80% of their hits gave me plenty of time to realize why. This physical damage jump attack is using the spellcasting modifier of the Warlock class that I had recently grabbed, Charisma. Charismatic jumps. Did anybody test any of these attacks? Exactly 118 rounds of exciting combat later, Malice is stomped to dust. His death disables the greater effects of the Shadow Curse in most of Act 2. That's also probably not intended, but with it, I no longer need to drag around the stupid Moon Lantern. Easily time well spent. Char's Gauntlet begins. Inside, Balthazar's goons blamed me for existing, gave me no chance to reply, called me a stupid cockhead, then instantly died in combat to our enemies. Reminds me a lot of League of Legends. With them out of the way, Char's trials are open. No matter how much blood you offer up or random crap you place on the altar, it will never begin without a cutscene, one which Slayers cannot participate in. It's an expected result, and on the way to Yurgur's gem, I noticed I could just jump directly down to the door. For that door, I tried the usual clipping methods using a chest, and had no such luck. Gave Relentless Lunge the old college try, and holy shit, you would think I knew that was gonna happen. The Shadowfell is the point of no return, and being level 7, that's probably not ideal. To give myself a better chance at future combat, I went exploring and killing in other areas, hoping to make up for a sliver of the massive quantities in missed quest experience. More importantly though, I hope to run into more buggy nonsense. Speaking of, what the hell's going on with Mayrina? She's completely frozen at the sight of me. That's not the only weird thing in here though, as the hag doesn't seem to exist. That is a first in a challenge run where I'm playing the game normally? Relatively normally? Can I say that? That a boss just vanished from the universe. Moving on from there, I face tanked the shit out of these turrets. That was cool, I wanted to show that. Then found Bernard here has no chill for a Slayer in his home. He followed me all over the place, where I was able to ambush him and kill him while stunned before combat even began. In Grimforge, some flame dudes exploded, getting me to level 8, where it's time to get back to what matters. A meet and greet with Balthazar's puppets prompted 25 Justiciars to attack me, and the only strategy I have is running away. This is my life now. Balthazar fell victim to the worst multi-attack combo of all time, unable to survive the chaos because I killed him, and with his death, I am finally ready to enter the Shadowfell. The cutscene turned me into a human, followed by nothing. The entry pop-up just doesn't seem to work. Thankfully, speedrunners have had a solution to this problem for years. A bit more grinding occurred. Nearly everything alive was murder hoboed to reach level 9. I wanted 10, didn't quite reach there. And now it's back to Moonrise Towers. In the basement prison, I jumped into the oubliette, hugging this wall. When the brain cat path's over, you can spam jump directly at where it's patrolling to clip through the wall in a trick speedrunners call brain cat skip. That is the simple part. The real struggle came in the form of the flesh rot door. You can't use it as a Slayer because Larian didn't think anyone would be as stupid as I am to play the game this way. Thus the usual bag of wall clip tricks will be employed. You can't shadowbox it, because Shadowheart's body is not in my party. Wasn't able to jump clip through it. The chest clip isn't working, I'm guessing because the Slayer is too big and clunky. And even chair shift doesn't work for the 3 people who have heard of that. I'm stuck. Pretty much ready to accept defeat. But then somehow I pulled off this move when I tried to cast Relentless Lunge, leaving me completely stunned. Of course it would be the Slayer unique action which breaks the unbreakable door. The shock doesn't stop there though, as once inside, Ketheric doesn't want to kill me. In 3,000 hours played, that's never happened. Pretty handy because now I can get some better B-roll shots while explaining why I'm completely screwed. It's not Ketheric's fault I'm screwed, it's actually the Night Song. Unfortunately, none of what I am currently doing is considered to be the help action. Shadowheart's too busy being dead to spear the Night Song. A little dramatic if you ask me. And I can't talk to the Pixie as a Slayer. Pixie Bell skip ain't an option either. There is no way to beat Baldur's Gate 3 using only Slayer actions. If you're new here, don't worry though. Failing the challenge never stopped me before, and it won't this time either. We're gonna do the next closest thing. Back at camp, with the help of Withers, I reclassed into a Beastmaster to call upon a wolf. This guy may not look helpful, but level 8 ranger pets get access to the help action. Together, me and my dog wall clipped inside, and went to confront Ketheric for realsy. Much like every other moment of Act 2, this would not be easy. The old reliable hit and run tactics are thrown out the window because Aelin here locks you into combat. Plus it's a red map region, you're double screwed. Instead, the strat is this Mind Flayer needs to die, because it will stun lock you if it ever gets one turn. A speed potion gives the damage boost necessary to secure a kill on this Mind Flayer, with an earlier placed barrel wall holding off the reinforcement skellies. Self-healing off of Kethric's eggs kept me nice and healthy, until I was able to pick off Isabel. Spent some time regenerating to full HP before sneaking behind Kethric's back, mid-combat to slay the barrel boys. With that, Ketheric is all alone, and I am regenerating 6 health per turn, while he can do nothing about it. On the 44th combat round, now is the time for Doggo here to go help the Night Song. Everything here has gone perfectly to plan, until it doesn't. Turns out, I can't really be in melee range of Ketheric because he deletes me in 2 turns. Thankfully, because he's scripted to never leave the high ground, that bugged range radius of this ability again saves the day. I get to remain on the low ground and crush the eggs up top while 10% of the time also hitting him. And if it ain't obvious by now, this strategy isn't gonna work much longer. Merkel would never put up with this nonsense. As we reached turn 101, he dropped low enough to be finished off. The transformation cutscene entirely skipped. And instantly, I knew I'm screwed. If the last 100 turns taught us anything, it's that there's no universe I beat this guy. I searched my inventory for options, and there it was, Eurogear's bombs. I'd not even meant to collect them. By chance, it took a dozen attempts of hit and running the guy down earlier. These bombs are likely the only explosive you can safely detonate as a melee-only character without having to move. I placed them at his non-existent feet, waiting, observing, praying. Merkel didn't want to wait though. In a power play no one saw coming, he attacked the bomb directly, showcasing he is the one in control here. He's just as curious as all of us to see how a Slayer's life may continue. In other words, Merkel subscribed to the channel, why not you? He survives on 6 HP, where Dame Aelin swept into position, ready to finish him off. But of course, she missed like always. It's all up to me. With a single claw, Merkel is slain. And Ketheric took on the most cursed, unflattering yoga pose for his trip to the afterlife. A nether stone is claimed, and the nightmare is over. My dog and I took a commemorative selfie together, and I can safely head for the exit, knowing my fate.
You cannot use that right now.
It's a good thing I already considered the challenge failed right there, because this door is not usable as a Slayer. Regardless, we continue. Before the Gith ambush, I was curious to see if long resting as a Slayer would work. It didn't. Use an angelic reprieve to attempt it again, only for another wacky glitch to pop up. 4 naked Gales are in my camp, and a soft lock to boot. Not able to go into Act 3 like this, but I was able to return to Act 1 somehow, so I went back to see what was going on, and the entire goblin camp has respawned. Time travel was not on the agenda for the Slayer video, but we're here now. Fled that battle to camp, only to find it too has been overran by goblins and failsafe tieflings. I could have spent hours exploring this glitched, messed up timeline, but as I'd rather not be soft-locked, I reloaded back to camp to sleep like a normie and progress the story. Hopefully somebody appreciated that unexpected dream world as much as I did. The Gith sure didn't. The first portal phase is over in 1 round thanks to being a thief rogue with the extra jump. And once inside, the Emperor is in need of rescue. Rather impressed he was able to pull me out of Slayer form for the cutscene, as almost nobody else has been able to for a long time. Prone targets being a guaranteed critical hit during Slay is a disgusting mechanic, and with the Emperor not being as useless as Aelin, he landed a stun, then stole the final kill, before yapping about stuff we already know. If there was only one cutscene I was hoping that would break in this run, it was this one. When he finally shut up, we've arrived in Act 3. The act begins with traumatizing a child. The Strange Ox is next. Oddly enough, it didn't fight back at all against me. In most videos, that would be at least top 5 of ridiculous interactions. Not this one though. It accepted the gift of death. I accepted the gift of its ring. I'm pretty sure this is the only equipable item in the game that works in Slayer form, adding 1d4 to all non-combat rolls. Long rested real quick to equip the ring, only to see another messed up cutscene. There isn't supposed to be a completely silent cutscene of 40 seconds of an empty temple, but there is when you're a Slayer. Back to the real world, other than running in fear, the locals seem to care very little for me. The guards did attempt to prevent my entry, but could not catch me as I snuck into Gortash's keep. The Steel Watchers didn't give their usual invitation to the coronation, and by everyone here I'm ignored. It's okay, I'm a middle child. I'm used to it. To the lower city we go. First up, Murder Tribunal questline. Sorry, chef. He's murdered, and into the basement I fled. The Ballast recruiter patiently waited for me to end combat, but never did offer a quest. While here, I stopped by the Emperor's old hideout next door, and can confirm the Githyanki will not attack you like this. Everything I thought I once knew about the game is a lie. Long resting in the lower city is supposed to prompt Orin to kidnap Yenna from your camp. And guess what broke now? It's Orin! She's stuck in my camp as a child. I guess we'll just hope that doesn't matter later. Back to the tribunal quest, I've got a stalker now, and in the case of the freaky murder monster versus more murder monsters, the guards took my side, leading to the swift execution of Dolor. As for that quest, I'd somehow forgotten you need to speak with the door, so obviously that's not gonna work. Saving Volo from these goons was tricky, and I'd really hoped to receive the reward for doing so, as helping him here rewards a book that teaches you the Piercing Growl Slayer action. An area-affected bleed and fear that rarely ever works because it uses spell DC and Slayers don't have any way to get that. Couldn't speak to Volo though, which means no reward. And while it would have been nice, I ain't too bothered. Because killing this nearby lady got me to level 10, with the only level where Slayer form improves. For a moment I wondered how I'm gonna get through this blood door without a range attack. And this dude just ran into the perfect position to shoo me away, practically begging to be the blood sacrifice. Thanks, Brecky. Mountslaughter Chasm was a blast with these newfound powers. Eviscerated all who dare impede my progress, and even got to knock a ghost prone before ending its undead existence. Spoiler, or not, because nobody would ever be spoiled by this, you can't open the door without speaking to the butler. So yet again we're gonna clip on through. And surprise, surprise, Orin is stuck as a child because of the earlier camp encounter. This was the one time I really wanted to duel her too. In an alternative universe I did. It was fun. Messed her up real bad. But in C-137 there is no choice but to knock her out and skip the fight, due to all these ridiculous bugs that nobody saw coming. Since I got robbed of that duel with Orin, I'm just gonna have to go duel Gortash. But before that, we got a little problem. It's the door. Once again, the door is a bigger problem than the boss. I don't know how to get out of this place. The chest clip isn't letting me out, nor did any other random crap. To save you all the 3-hour epic story of my struggle with a door, I kinda just clicked from really far away and walked through it. It was pretty anticlimactic. That was a small blessing, because what's up next is a bigger puzzle. Without being able to participate in Gortash's coronation, it means he will never go to his upstairs office. I have to do combat on the same floor as these 20 robots. Was thinking it may be possible to blow up the Steel Watch Foundry, but I checked, and the Slayer's hands cannot be used to type on that keyboard console to plant the bomb. I had a different idea though, one that required stealing dozens of chests from all around the city. It's a good thing that nobody questions a trespassing thieving Slayer. Randomly in the keep, I noticed that by saving and reloading while standing next to Gortash, he starts to run away from me like a little girl. Using this hidden racial bonus, I chased him to a far corner of the keep, trapping him in baby dictator jail. All possible entrances are barricaded shut. The duel with this handsome young man goes down, all while no one else could figure out how to get through my walls. Eventually, he fisted his way out of prison into an early grave. Gotta say, Slayer form damage is disgusting when they're diseased. After yoinking his netherstone, I skydived out of there, fleeing the camp, only to discover I have a new camp visitor. This has to be a record for nonsense in a run. Alright, ignoring her, forced to sail on the boat as a human, I did just that towards the Morphic Pool, where the greeter brain cats did not react. They're supposed to run away and despawn, but I guess someone didn't get the memo. The next encounter got me to level 11, a pointless level overall as I couldn't really get anything functional. And after that, the brain forced me out of Slayer form, where I needed to speak with the Emperor as a human to progress. For those keeping track, that was probably the 7th time Slayer form has failed this run. Returning to the upper city, I didn't know what to do with my arms or something. I gave a speech for Saravak alone to listen to. Was kinda awkward actually, but I'm glad somebody was there. You'll be happy to know I am not invisibly skipping the courtyard. Instead, I sneakily made my way around the outside like a silent assassin, breaking down the doors with civilians and running right up to the finish, where with the use of a Vault Elixir, I was able to jump directly up the middle, skipping this entire stupid gauntlet. Once clicking the brainstock, we've arrived at the final boss. It took all my invisibility potions to get us inside, all 3 of them. And once you're in there, it's just as awful as ever. No, actually, it's worse than ever. I can't cast Global Invulnerability, and solo nobody else can tank the DC 25 Brainquake slow reaction that the brain casts. You get 5 turns to do this, but because you're melee only, the platforms are always being deleted in 3 turns should you choose to attack. So after a few game overs, I decided if I'm gonna beat this brain, I'm gonna need to use my brain, and my fat ass. I chugged an Elixir of Colossus, increasing my weight to 5,000 kilograms. At this weight, jumping to the far side of the brain causes my body to clip into the brains, dealing 106 unavoidable crushing damage without triggering the brain's slow quake reaction. I could now run to a far platform, ensuring the melee ones last slightly longer. Already in position for my next jump, I took some time to aim, before diving down for another 105. With few platforms remaining, I jumped up to the highest one, hoping to get one final stomp on his stupid Goomba head. I spam clicked to the safe melee platform, though this time would be different, as instead of landing there, I landed directly atop the brain's head. 154 damage was nice, but we're in uncharted territory here. I appear to be stuck in the brain, without any stepbrother around to save me. Why did I write that? Out of confusion, desperation, and anger, I swiped at its lobes once, twice, and a third time, somehow killing the Elder Brain but not falling into the abyss. Beating Baldur's Gate 3's jankiest challenge run of my life. Though thanks to the night song, several door cutscenes, and a boat, not entirely as a slayer. If you've enjoyed the most buggy playthrough I've ever done in Baldur's Gate 3, drop a like. Maybe suggest a video idea in the comments. I could always use those. And then go watch this video, where I tried to beat Baldur's Gate 3 as a ditto. As always, thank you to the channel members who supported me thus far. Hard to believe you people are real. And until next time, Proxy out.